We're going to be talking about creating dynamic sites with Cadence theme and blocks. So Cadence theme and Cadence blocks are what we're going to be focusing on. But you probably want to know, if you don't know what Cadence is, you probably want to know a little bit about that and why this is important and so innovative. And I also wanted to give you kind of an overview of who I am, your presenter. So I've been working with WordPress for a very long time. I was a developer before WordPress came along, was building data-driven sites, was also a blogger. And when WordPress came along and it was storing all of the blog posts in a database and all the pages in a database, I'm like, well, this makes a heck of a lot more sense than movable type, which was just basically outputting all of these HTML files. And then I wanted to change the design, and that was next to impossible because, everybody who's blogging wants to change their design all the time. And WordPress made all of that easy because it separated your content from the design. So I got hooked on WordPress quite some time ago. And over the past few years, I've been really focused on security, was helping a lot of people clean up hacked sites, doing a lot of marketing, training, and wanted to really, when Gutenberg came out, I really wanted it to be successful. I could see sort of the writing on the wall that blocks were going to be the future. And I was lucky enough to stumble upon, somebody told me, you have to take a look at Cadence. I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at, okay, this is kind of cool. And it wasn't until I started really building out my own personal site using Cadence that I said, oh, hello, Gutenberg. I think we've just changed our relationship. And no longer am I frustrated with you. Now I really see the promise of what blocks can do. Cadence is amazing. It's incredibly innovative. It really puts a lot of the things that you would see in, say, like a Beaver Builder or a Divi or an Elementor, it puts it in the block editor. And it does so in a very elegant way. I fell in love with Cadence, and I was just as given a gift to be able to head up marketing for Cadence over at Liquid Web and Stellar WP. Ben Rittner is the creative genius behind Cadence, and he basically started building the Cadence Blocks plugin while Gutenberg was still in development and wasn't in core yet. The fact that he could see where everything was going and take it sort of to its next inferential leap is amazing to me. And I'm really lucky to work with such a brilliant developer. He has great ideas and has created an entire suite of products for WordPress users. There are, just beyond Cadence, the theme, which is incredibly fast and lean, and Cadence Blocks, which adds so much innovation to building with blocks. There is the Cadence Shop Kit, which helps people build better, more effective WooCommerce storefronts. And then there's Cadence Conversions, which uses the block editor in order to build pop-ups, slide-ins, and banners. I was going to say modals, but I'm like, no, modals and pop-ups, same. Okay, so and banners. This is just neat stuff, and you can have so much granular control over where those are showing up on a site, whether or not somebody has seen it before. And doing all of this with blocks and doing it with speed and performance in mind, it is really amazing. And to be able to do all of this without ever writing a line of code, this is a gift to WordPress users. Here's a funny side note. So I showed my 13-year-old daughter, who told me she's creating a lifestyle brand and a lifestyle blog with her friend. I showed her Cadence starter templates, and she says, oh, this is like Wix for WordPress, which I'm still laughing about because it's hilarious to me from the mind of a 13-year-old for her to figure out, okay, Wix is where my friends are going to build websites. And this is bringing that ease of creating a site to WordPress, which she knows because her mom drags her to WordCamps, right? So anyway, Cadence has been an innovative tool. I am having a ton of fun building sites with it, and it's really neat to see all of the people in the community building new sites with Cadence. So tonight, I wanted to show you what Cadence can do, some of the power behind the tools here. And that's to create dynamic content. And if you've worked with WordPress for a while, you've probably heard more developer-centric people talking about dynamic content and advanced custom fields, or maybe meta box and things like that. And you think, okay, well, I'm not going to go code anything for that. That's for developers to do. Cadence has created a system that allows you to do all of this without coding. So it's bringing dynamic content into
I got in. I had to edit the link.
Link was incorrect.
Okay. Sounds like somebody's talking in there. Anyway, so content, basically dynamic content is content that is stored separated from the design that is displaying it. WordPress does this, like what I was talking about when I first found WordPress. It stored design and themes, and the posts, pages, all of your content was stored separately. So when it was time to redesign your site, you could basically retheme it or make some code changes in the theme, and it would apply then to all of your content as well. So custom post types takes that a step further. And you're probably building sites with custom post types right now without even really thinking that it's custom post types. But basically, WooCommerce and all of the products, the customers, orders, all of that is stored in a database separate from, site content and layouts. Learning management systems like LearnDash or Lifter LMS, those are courses and students and things like that are also stored in a database, completely separate from the design of the site. So it makes it very easy to theme it out. Events, like events calendar, stores events as a custom post type, stored all in the database, and the layout and design is all handled separately. And Seriously Simple Podcasting, that does it for podcasts. It's basically just another custom post type. But what happens when you want to do something completely different? There's not a plugin that can handle that. There's something that's very specific. Maybe you're building a site for someone and they said, well, we want to list all of these things. We're a real estate company. We want to list all of our rentals on the site. We want to list all of our agents on the site. And we want Jane in the front office to enter in all of this. And we don't want her messing with the design. What do you do then? That's where dynamic content really comes in and is incredibly powerful. So if you have obviously dynamic content isn't for everything. Like if you have 3 people that work in an office and you want to put, their bios and headshots and stuff on your site, you probably don't want to do dynamic content because the effort required to build that all out just doesn't warrant, going through building out theming and things like that. But if you have a lot of content, if you have an office of 300 people and Jane in the front office is going to be the one maintaining all of that content, or HR, you want to have updating that content to be part of HR's workflow when they're onboarding or offboarding an employee, those types of things where they're just handling the data itself makes a lot of sense. Let's say you have content that you want to show in a variety of places on the site in different ways. Let's say you have somebody who works in HR, but they also work in communications, because your company is growing, or you want to easily move somebody from HR to communications or something like that. Content that you want to show in a variety of places in different ways and just have the content stored in one place, perfect for dynamic content. And of course, obviously, if you don't want somebody to be touching the design and you want to fully separate the contents of a page from the design of that page when you're dealing with blocks, dynamic content is brilliant for that. So obviously, some examples of content use cases, dynamic content use cases, staff or employee listings, job listings, real estate listings, rental properties. Let's say you're working with a humane society and they have pets that are up for adoption and they have to quickly change that content, but they don't want to have to go make all these decisions about what this block is going to look like. And you want to handle that yourself. Whereas, somebody in the front office or who's dealing with all the pets that are up for adoption and hopefully being adopted quickly, that all is separate. They're dealing with, quick decisions about the content, not necessarily the design. Services, let's say you have tons of new services that are coming and going, seasonal types of services that you want to display in different ways. Ben, our founder of Cadence, did a training this afternoon for iThemes, and there he talked about sponsor listings and the creative ways that you could do sponsor listings and have different ways of showing that. Or if you have any kind of content that doesn't fit within an existing plugin implementation and you don't want to have to go build that yourself, this type of dynamic content is perfect for that. So let's talk real quickly about the types of tools that exist for creating dynamic content, the content itself. Now, Cadence is going to show you how to display all of that on your site, but you have to get the dynamic content into that WordPress database somehow. So there's a few tools that I just wanted to mention. Custom post type UI, very easy to use. I'm going to give you a quick overview of this tool. This is where you basically set up your custom post type, your information. How is it going to be stored? What are you actually doing? And in our example, we're going to be showing how to do this for a staff listing. Advanced custom fields, you've probably heard this. It's an incredibly powerful tool. Many people use advanced custom fields. It's been around for a very long time, and it's very powerful, very easy to use. Metabox, a lot of fans of Metabox. Cadence supports advanced custom fields, Metabox tool set. It does not yet support pods, but that is coming in the future. And Metabox was just added. So our support for that was just added last week. So the example I'm going to show you is going to be using advanced custom fields just because it's the one I've used the most and it's the easiest from my perspective to use. So I'll give you a quick overview of how to do those. And then from the Cadence side of things, in order to do what we're doing, you are going to need to use the Cadence Blocks Pro and the Cadence Themes Pro plugins. So these are all of the plugins that we will need to have installed. So the custom post type UI plugin, the advanced custom fields plugin, Cadence Blocks Pro, Cadence Theme as the theme, and the Cadence Theme Pro plugin installed. And we have a number of bundles where you can get the Pro stuff relatively inexpensively, along with things like Cadence conversions and whatnot. But let's get right into showing you how this all works. So first of all, let's take a look at the plugins that we have installed on our little test site here. So we've got advanced custom fields, the custom post type UI. Again, these are both the free versions available on the repo. You can go ahead and just add new and go search for these. Cadence blocks available on the repo. And I've got the Cadence starter templates on there too, which I can give you a quick overview of before we get started, just to show you some of the starter templates. And these are super easy to use. And we're adding new ones at the rate of like about 2 to 3 a week. And they're really nicely designed, and they're full sites that you can just automatically import and recolor yourself. And this is a free plugin that you can use. There's some pro templates that are out there, starter templates that are out there, but most of these are free. There's a lot for WooCommerce, quite a few for LearnDash, but they work with other learning management systems as well. We just have, a relationship with LearnDash at Stellar. So anyway, let's get started. Let's talk first about setting up the custom post type. And we're going to use the CPT UI plugin in order to do that. Now, I've already set up things just for the sake of time here. But basically, you'll go into Add, Edit Post Types. And here, you'll just add whatever that's going to be. So you see some example ones I've used in the past: portfolio, agent, staff. For the one that I've got set up here, we already have staff set up because we're going to set up staff members. So as soon as you add that, and it's kind of cool because you can customize a lot of these things. I haven't done a lot of customization here, but you can even change the little icon that goes next to the staff. So once you add that, and you go through and edit post types, and you add your post type, it will show up over here. And you can change that icon if you want to. Another thing that we did for this particular example is we turned off the editor for where this is added. And I'll show you why. We want to really control how staff members are added. So the editor, the block editor, we've turned that off. We want to just, Jane is in the front office and she's going to add and remove staff members. We don't want her to make any design decisions here. We want her to enter information, enter the biography. We're going to give her the capability of adding a banner image to set this up, and we're going to let her set up a featured image, and that's basically all she's going to be able to do here. We just want her to really focus on the content. We don't want to make her life harder. So that is why we are turning off the editor. So as soon as you add that post type, again, you're going to see the staff member up over here. We also added a taxonomy, and a taxonomy is just going to be for that staff member, where did it go? Staff categories. So we added a staff category here using this field, and we applied it to staff. So that custom post, the CPT UI, custom post type UI, basically is just going to establish that post type, that custom post type in the actual database. It's not going to create any of the fields. It's just kind of going to give the database an overview of what you're doing. Once that's done, this is where you're going to start adding field groups with ACF, Advanced Custom Fields. And here we've already established staff fields. So let's take a look at what we've done here. So we've basically gone through and established these different fields that we saw on that staff page. So we set up the first name, and then it will automatically slug that, as first underscore name. And we set it up with type of text. We can actually move these around. Like if we want it to, I believe this drags. Yeah. So you can, like if I wanted to put the banner up top, I could do that. If I wanted to put the phone a little higher, then that's what will show up on that staff entry page. And you can go ahead and add all of these fields, and then we want to set this under location. So these are going to be shown if the post type is equal to staff. So the staff is the thing that we've set up with the CPT UI. So that will show up once that is here. So then that rule is set up. So once we have those staff members set up, I've gone ahead and added some data here, because really what I want to do is show you how you display this on the front end. So we had a real estate starter template, and I basically just went to the starter template and I said, hey, look, here's some staff members that are basically on the starter template. So I went ahead and added that custom post type for the staff members or the agents. And I basically added all of those agents in here, and I added some content for them. So we've got Paul over here and his email, phone number, a little biography, a banner that we're going to be using in the layout, and then his headshot, which was just a part of all of our content that came through. There's Paul again. So it was just an easy way to pull in all of our content there. But let's get into actually building out how we're going to display these, because this is where the real fun is. In the past, you could set all of this stuff up with CPT UI and Advanced Custom Fields. You could set all of that up, but then how are you going to end up showing that on the front end of your site? Because if we go to look at all of our staff and we go to view Paul, that content is not being pulled in. So how do we show that content here? What are we going to do? This is where the power of Cadence comes in. So the first thing you need to do once you've got Cadence Pro installed, if you go under Appearance to Cadence, it's really important to turn on hooked elements. Hooked elements is where all of the theming and templating exists within Cadence. So once you turn this on, and there's obviously a number of pro features that you can turn on or turn off. It's not a speed thing or anything like that. It's just like if you don't want people getting into things and messing things up or keeping your navigation as clean as possible, you can turn things on and off. But once you have hooked elements turned on, you get this navigation element here on the sidebar. Under Cadence, you'll see elements. If this is off, that disappears. So under elements, there's a number of different elements that exist. We are going to work on adding a template. So elements are basic conditional items that you can add anywhere. You can create a content section, a fixed section, and you can say, okay, I want this content section to show up under the hero image on this particular page. But for what we're going to do with our custom post type is we're going to be using templating. Templating is so incredibly powerful, and I'm very excited to show you this. So when you have Cadence elements installed, there's a new toggle over here that gives you all of the elements settings. When you're setting up a new template, and this is going to show, obviously our staff members what they look like, you want to have some preview capabilities available. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to, in the editor, see what's going on. So here we're going to go down and we're going to select staff members, and we're saying, okay, we're going to use these. This is where this is going to apply. So you select staff, and then just select any. We'll pick on Paul, and we're going to use him as kind of like our guinea pig for building out our template. So once you have that set, you can go ahead and close this. Here I'm just going to add a title, and I'm going to call that a single staff template. And this is just an internal designation, so you know what this template applies to. Because once you start using kind of Cadence element templates and you start seeing all of these templates, you want to know what things apply to. Then you just start building with blocks. And Cadence blocks has a number of, let's see, I'm going to start here so I can give you kind of an overview of all of the blocks. So if you've been using any kind of block plugins, you probably notice that it adds additional blocks. You have your standard Gutenberg blocks down here, and then you've got all of your Cadence blocks here, and they're all shown in blue. So it makes it easier for you to see. So there's a Lottie animation block. That is really nifty. There's a post on our blog about that if you want to get into that. Advanced image, which adds additional features. I'll show that in a second. Beyond the image block. Google Maps is also pretty new. But there's also a number of other things that you can use as a part of Cadence. But let's get into building out this template. And we're going to use some of the Cadence blocks in order to do this. The great thing about templating with Cadence is that any template or any block that you have available to any post or page, you also have available to your template. So it is pretty powerful. I'm going to start with the row layout, and I'm just basically, I'm going to create one giant row as a container. And then I'm going to open this up so that I can see what I'm doing a little bit here. And I'm going to set the background for this template. And I'm going to use dynamic content for the background of this template. Remember, we had that banner set up for staff members. So I'm going to use the banner that's unique for each staff member. And I'm going to pull that in to the background here. So I'm going to enable the background image. And then I'm going to go to the post custom field and the image source, current post, and then the custom field I'm going to use is that post custom field. And then that's the right one, right? Yeah, post custom field, current post. And then this should be populating the banner. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I did this right. Live demos. Let me make sure I'm pulling in post custom field. And then I want, yep, we've got our first name. So that should pull in Paul, right? And then here I'm going to pull in the post custom field and current post, and then I'm going to pull last name. So we've got his name. And now I still want to get that background image. And it's saying no image found. Dynamic, current post. There it is. Okay, I didn't scroll well enough. All right, so he's got his banner, but that's a little strong there. I would like a couple of things to happen. So I'm going to go back to my row layout, and I would like this to actually have an overlay. And I'm going to choose a darker color, and I want to make that stronger. So I want that to be pretty dark, like that. And then I'm going to go to my advanced text here, which is another Cadence block. And I would like that to, I just want the whole thing to be white. So then we have two dynamic elements coming in that are working together here. We have our advanced text, which is pulling from our custom field, and that banner, which is pulling from our custom field. Next, I'm going to pull in an advanced image, and I still need this over here. And so for my image, I want his headshot, right? So I'm going to enable a dynamic image here, post custom field, and yeah, see, this is where staff field banner. Oh, I wanted to not pull the custom field. I want to pull that particular one is stored as the featured image. So I want to pull in the featured image. And let's see, style-wise, I'll turn this off. I would like to, wait, no, I want to keep that on. And for this advanced image, we can set a border around it if we want to. So we can choose a border color. And these are things, you know, that you can't do with the actual image itself. Another cool thing that you can do, you know what, I think I want to do this. I'm going to remove that image, and I am going to add another row layout. And let's see, let's do it like this. And then, so now I have a row layout, you see here, with two sections in it. And I can change that and say it's 50-50, but I kind of like that there. And now within that section, now I'm going to go find my advanced image. And then I'm going to go find the dynamic image for Paul. And that's going to be the featured image. That looks a little bit better. And then over here, I want to do some more advanced text, another Cadence block. And my screen is too small for what I'm trying to do here. So here I'm going to create this as a paragraph, and I'm going to go find more custom content, and I am going to go find that post custom field, and I am going to find his biography, and I'm going to pop that in. You can see where it's underlining. It's showing you that that is the double underline in blue. It's showing you where that that's dynamic content. So let's say, for example, you wanted to, within that same advanced text box, you wanted to put something ahead of that. Let's say you wanted to be within that particular box. Let's see, I'll do it at the end. I just wanted to write, this is, so we want some static text in there as well. The blue just kind of gives you that designation so that you know what is dynamic text versus what is static text, but it's still within, you know, that particular box. That's, this paragraph tag was in error, so we can remove that. But you see, this is just one advanced text block that has both dynamic and static content in it. So let's say we wanted to change some of the spacing on this. We can do that as well. So if we wanted this to perhaps, we can add the alt text in for the bio, so we can add headshot in here if we want to do that. Change the border spacing. The advanced image has so many capabilities here. You can add some animation to that particular block. So let's see, we wanted to fade up. We can add that as well. So this might look, familiar to some of the page builders you may have worked with, but it's all part of blocks. Conditional display is actually something else that's pretty cool. So let's say we want to set it to, let's say, a post ID. We'd have to go find the post ID for a particular staff member, for example, that we don't want to show a headshot for, or we want to replace it. Or if there's content that's empty, like let's say that there is content, let's say the featured image URL is empty, then you could do something else with that. So there's conditional displays, and this is all part of the advanced image block. This stuff is actually part of Cadence Free and is not necessary for dynamic content. Okay, we can add some more of that dynamic content that we had brought in there. Let's see, we had post content that, what else did we have? Let's say we want to add the email address. We can add that dynamic content in there. We can style that however we'd like. Let's say we want to do an H6 for that. And let's say under that, we would like to add some more dynamic content of more information from that particular field. Let's see, phone number was another one. And we can style that separately as well, but let's just do it as an H6. Okay, so now we have basically a template set up here using Paul as our guinea pig. So if we go ahead and publish this, okay, so now we have our template set up. We can see that under elements, we have our single set staff template. So now if we go to all staff members, we kind of have an idea of what Paul might look like. Well, let's open him up in a new tab. Oh, shoot. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't tell Cadence where to show this. Very important. I just jumped into the design. That is very important. We have to tell Cadence where we want this to be shown. So we would like this to replace the single post content, and we're going to say where we would like this to be shown. So we just go down here to the single staff member. This is all you have to do. There are obviously more settings that you can set up with Cadence Elements templating. You can say that you want to, this should only show for one particular staff member, or you can say that any staff member published by Jane, or if you wanted to go individually, you can select which staff member you want that to go for, to be shown for. So you can have numerous templates showing up for, but I do not want to do this. I want it to do all. Very, very important. There we go. Now, if we reload Paul, we should have some content here. And we don't have his photo. I might have done something there. What did I do? It has an if. I saw that if. You see the if there. So I did some conditional logic on the photo, and I did not replace that. So if we go to, this is the problem with all of our live demos, you never know when you are doing something. So let's turn off conditional logic, update that. And now if we reload Paul, we should see his photo. Amen. There it is. And obviously we can change some of the spacing and such for that particular block here. If we wanted to ensure that this block had a specific height, that it did not have all of these margins, we could definitely do that specifically with with all of the structure settings and whatnot. So we can set our minimum height for that, maximum width, z-index controls. There's so many different visibility settings. You could set up a template that is specific for desktop, tablet, hide it from logged in users. There are so many different controls. This gives you an idea of all the fun things that you can do. So you can also have this do a parallax. There's just all kinds of crazy fun things that you can do with Cadence Elements templating. Now, obviously, we have our single staff member, but what if we want to use all of this content that we have here and we want to show an archive page? Let's say we want all of our staff members. So if somebody goes to view a listing of every single staff member, that they have an archive overview for all of that. You can do that with Cadence Elements templating as well. So let's do that. And that works pretty much in the exact same way. We'll make this pretty quick because I'm sure there's questions. But let's do staff archive. And we want to create this. We're going to set to, let's say it's about 400. And we are going to use staff members. And let's use Alejandro for this. And we'll close that. And the placement for this, very important. We are going to replace archive loop item content. I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to put it. And we're going to show it on the staff category archives. And I didn't set up categories on that, didn't I? Anyway, well, let me give you a quick overview of how this would work. Let's do a quick row layout. And within that, we're going to create an advanced image. And we want our image to be dynamic. And we want that image to be the featured image that we've set up. We're using Alejandro. And then let's say we're just going to, oh shoot, maybe I should have put this as a nested section. And I'm not going to be able to drag that in there. Row layout. And I want to add another column. We'll just do that. That'll be nice and easy. And we're just going to pull in the content there. My screen is so small for this content. We're going to pull in custom fields, staff fields, add that first name. We're just going to add his first name, make this nice and easy. And we're going to make it smaller. And let's say on the back of this row layout, we want to just add some color. And we want Alejandro's name to be white. There. So that's like what our card is going to look like. And let's see, we've got this set up with elements going to be going to archive loop item and the staff category archives, which I didn't set up categories, but let's see if I can get that to work on staff categories. Okay, we've got categories set up. We didn't add our staff to those categories though. So let's say Alejandro, we're going to add you to staff categories. We're going to add you to human resources. You look like you're into human resources, Alejandro. Welcome to our department. Okay, so now when we go to those staff categories, we're probably only going to see one Alejandro there. But there he is with our little card we've set up. And let's say, we want to edit Paul. Paul's into human resources as well today. He's he's moving around, Paul. So we're going to add that and we're going to update him. So now if we go over here, we've got both Paul and Alejandro. And then if we wanted to edit this and add in his contact information here, we could quite simply just go back to our elements, go to the staff archive, and let's say we really want to put the phone number there so that, and we want to, designate, let's see, we need to make sure that we are using advanced text. So we are going to add another advanced text here as a block. And there we are going to make sure that the text color is white. And we are going to add the dynamic content of our post custom field. And we are going to go find Alejandro's phone number and add that. And we are going to make sure that it is of reasonable size for the container it's in. Update that. Go back to human resources, reload that page, and then there is the phone number. And that's pretty much how templating and dynamic content works with Cadence. I know I've been talking for a while, and I'm going to guess that there are probably some questions. So I am open to entertaining whatever you guys have.
That was great. And apparently it was so good that there actually are no questions.
There are no questions.
If you have any
Wow.
questions, please ask them in the chat. Honestly, I was even trying to think of some questions. I think you did a really good job covering it. I couldn't think of anything.
Oh, cool.
Does anybody have questions about Cadence, about Kathy's presentation? A couple of you have already used Cadence. I'm guessing if you have a general question about it, she could probably answer that. Anyone?
Yeah, I can answer any questions about Cadence. In fact, if we have more time, there's more that I can show you about what Cadence can do. If you'd like to look at some of because most of this templating stuff is all going to be in the Pro plugin, but I'd love to show you some of the things that Cadence can do just with the free plugin. If you'd like me to get into some of that, just high level, if that's of interest. Don't want to bore anyone though.
So Amy's asking, how hard is it to export the content? What do you mean the content? You mean the staff data or the layouts that she created? Amy, the data. That's not really Cadence specific. That's a WordPress function. You would use tools.
Right. I'm pretty sure, I have never gotten into what, so I would look at what advanced custom fields can do for you, because not only can you export things, you can import things, as well as with the CPT UI, both, again, free plugins. They do have tools for importing and exporting post types as well. So it just kind of creates a JSON file. So if you want to move it to another site, like if you create something for one site and you want to quickly and easily get it into another site, very easy to do with those tools.
Any other questions? Yes, Amy. So Amy, there's two things you need to export. You need to export the content, right? So that the staff members' names, their images, their phone numbers, their email addresses. But then you also need to, if you want to move to another site, export and then re-import the custom post types, the taxonomies, the custom fields. Like
yes.
That's all separate from the content. That's the structure of the data. We don't have another presentation, so Kathy, I'm fine. If you want to do another 15, 20 minutes, if you something else you wanted to show us, I think that would be great.
Okay, cool. Why don't I show some of the cool things that Cadence can just do? Because there's some cool stuff that especially like with the design library, if you're building sites for other people, Cadence is really supportive of what you need to do. And I'm just going to geek out on some of the cool things that I've done. So let's just create a test page. And I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. But Cadence has this cool thing called a design library. And so let's say I'm going to just build a whole page and I want to just grab some hero images, or let's say I really don't know what I want to do at all. Some of those starter templates, you can go in and pull them in here. So let's say I see a page here and I want to just, I'm trying to, what do I want to do? Try to think. Any one of these sites, basically, you can start pulling in content from those starter packs, those starter templates. Let's say I only want the about page from this. I can pull that in and just start working with it and fully customize it. But let's say it's got too much design, the colors aren't right. There's this cool feature called wireframing. So, and I used this a lot on a couple of sites that I've built out, just because I'm like, okay, I know the content I want to put on here. Let's say I need a pricing page or pricing tables or something like that. Or I want to put testimonials or something like that. These wireframes get you started enough that you can then add your own creativity to it. The wireframing has just been incredibly easy to use, and it's all going to be blocks, right? So let's see. Let's try this one. I have never used this one. So we'll pull that in, and here it is. It is in the page just from those wireframes. And again, there's not much color. There's not much look and feel to it, but it is basically just a snippet of code in here where I have a row layout and then some sections and some info boxes. And that's about it. And now I can style them however I would like. So, I'm not like the best designer in the world. I don't know if you want to see the designs that I would do with these, but I think it's really cool because you can really get into customizing things. It kind of gives you almost like a coloring book, but what you do with it and how far you want to take it is really cool. And that's like all within the free plugin. So you can just kind of get started however you want. And it's all blocks. Another cool thing about Cadence that, I've only been working with Cadence since November and life has been kind of crazy. So been kind of slow to market with a lot of this stuff. But let's say I am adding an advanced image here. I'm just going to select one of our test images. And then I am going to add, let's see, the Google Maps block. I'm going to add that. There are so many other blocks that I could add to this page. There's that Lottie block, for example. Lottie animations is pretty cool too. It starts with this cool little animation for WordPress. But there's this cool site. I have to show you this site. I'm kind of going all over the place. Oops, I think that opened in a different window by accident. Lottie files. You can just basically go and find any kind of free animations. So let's say I'll just take this one as an example one. And where is I don't want to download it. I want to just call it in. Use animation in WordPress. No. I just want the HTML. They changed it. Okay, there it is. There's the JSON file. I'm going to pull that in, and I'm just going to add this URL over here. And there she is. Kind of cool. And then it's got accessibility here. So for the area label. Okay, so I've got 3 blocks here. I've got an advanced image block. I've got the Google Maps block, and I've got the Lottie block. It's not going to pull in, let's say, see, what other blocks do we have? It's not going to pull in an accordion into the front end of your site. It is not going to pull in a form, all the logic that goes behind a form, or a table of contents, or a countdown block, or the post grid carousel block. It is going to pull in the code necessary for the advanced image, for the map, and for the Lottie. That's it. One of the great things about Cadence is that it's quite modular. While you on the back end have the capability of adding anything to the front end of the site, when it comes time to show this page to the front end to your users that are showing up, Cadence is only going to show the logic and the code that's necessary in order to show the things that you as a site owner or the site developer have selected. In that respect, Cadence is one of the most powerful and lightweight ways to show a website because it's only showing what you need. The fact that that's built into every single page and everything that you do with Cadence means that your sites are going to be faster, more performant, and delight your users more than any other site out there. So there's some more fun things that you can do with Cadence. When you get started with Cadence, some of the cool things to get started with is that row layout block, because that's really going to show you, how you're going to lay out all of the different blocks. So, and you can start with, a couple of them. You can very quickly and easily say, well, I think I need another column or a few. Once you start getting things in there, though, it's hard to move. Like if you put something here, let's say we wanted to put a Lottie animation into this particular column, I can't then move it over here. So that's one thing that I have complained vociferously about, and I think our developers are aware of that. So once you put it someplace, it's there. So you can obviously remove it and add it someplace else. But once it's in position, dragging and dropping between all of these is not, I'm pretty sure they haven't made it capable of doing that. Whereas, you can now move things within the general editor, within the row layout. You can't move things yet, but that is, I have been told, coming. So there are some other cool things you can do. The great thing about Cadence is that it allows you to really get granular about how things are shown on your site. Whereas if you're just adding an image block, you're not going to have all of the functionality and all of the capabilities that the advanced image is going to get you. So you can mask shapes around your images. So if you want to just, stuff you used to have to do in Photoshop, right? You can now just kind of mess with things and change how things are going to show up on the front end. I think this is pretty cool. Pretty amazing. You can also grayscale things, add all kinds of different filters to your images. I think that's pretty cool. Adding animation on scroll, again, something that you wouldn't find with just the regular block image capability. So, and then the conditional display. The conditional display, again, is something that you're going to see in the Pro extension, not something that's going to be in free, but all of the rest of this stuff is stuff that you can do with the free version. So tons of fun stuff you can do there. And, I'm just on a test page here, but I can still add dynamic content. So if I wanted to put the link here and add a dynamic link because I'm using the Pro version of Cadence, I can, add any kind of, let's see, I don't know what's going to pull in here. Custom input. But you can use dynamic linking within the paid Cadence Pro blocks version as well. So this, even though this isn't a template, you still have dynamic linking available and dynamic content. I'm pretty sure I could add, let's see, the advanced text still has dynamic content. So if I wanted to put the post title down here, I could do that. It's no content. It'll say no content here because I don't think I've saved anything yet. So, but once that's saved, and again, it'll underline showing you that it's dynamic content. So there's more to throw at you. There's a lot going on with blocks and a lot of cool things that Cadence is adding all the time. So any other questions?
Any other questions? Anything for Kathy? I mean, it just felt like there was a lot of I love Cadence. It made my life easy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, there's a lot to it. They constantly come out with new things. And one of the cool things about Cadence that I really love is that our developers are in support. Our developers are in feature requests. They constantly monitor what our community is looking for. So it's one of the reasons why it's been so successful is that they're always creating something that the Cadence community wants. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it seems really intuitive. Once you start using it, it feels like, it just feels very natural.
Yeah.
A lot of options.
Definitely.
Any other questions for Kathy? Going once? Oh, get Crystal that magazine news template, please. I guess I missed that comment. Somebody needs a magazine news template. That's not available yet?
Magazine news template. Don't think I've seen a couple of requests for a magazine news template. And I've also seen some people, if you're on, I don't know how to show it here. I'm on the wrong browser, but on Cadence, just go to Cadence. I think on Cadence WP, we have a link for the Facebook community. But if you go on the Facebook community that exists on Facebook, I'm not sure. Do we have the link for Facebook here? There's somebody who has recently posted a magazine template that they built that I thought was really cool. I know that we're hoping to get one into our starter templates very, very soon, but people are doing some innovative stuff themselves. And I think I also saw a YouTube video at one time where somebody was building out a magazine newspaper type of template using Cadence. So I know that there's tons of cool stuff in the community that is being built out. There's also there's a cool plugin that we haven't really written even that much about. Let's see. I think if I go to the homepage, it is somewhere. Oh no, it's under here. The child theme builder. This thing is really nifty. And we're just going, shoot, of course. And it's just going to the video. We need to get a page up about this. This thing is so cool. So there is a business out there. Here they are. These guys, okay, they're selling all of these themes. I think this is cool, and this is something I really want to talk about because I know there's a lot of agency people who are using Cadence, and this agency group are creating their own themes that they're selling. They're basically child themes of Cadence, and that particular plugin, this child theme builder that we still need a page for, it's on my list. That's what they use to build this. So they're basically selling WordPress themes that are built on Cadence using that child theme builder. Nifty, really cool. If you can handle theming with Cadence Elements templates, you can handle doing this. And these people are, it created them an additional revenue stream where they're selling really beautiful themes that are very, they have a niche. It's feminine themes, all built on Cadence. And there's a couple other agencies that are doing something like this. So if that's your jam, if you like theming things out, Cadence can really help elevate your work and create another revenue stream.
So Crystal's asking, should she be creating a child theme version of her Cadence site, or is it not needed with Cadence?
With Cadence, we try to do as much as possible so that you don't have to create a child theme. Enough of Cadence's settings. Let's see. Let me just get into the customizer. So typically, when you're doing things with child themes, you're doing things like, well, like you're adding your Google Analytics to the header or things like that. Enough of what Cadence offers in the customizer for Cadence should get you beyond having to do that. So let me remember where there's a couple of different settings. I think it's under the header. Nope, it's not. Where you can like add your Google Analytics tags right within the customizer. That's in the Pro version, I believe. Where is it? Oh, you know what? It's one of those funky things where you have to turn it on, isn't it? They get me every time. It's over here. Header add-ons, header footer scripts. Turn those on, and you have your place to add all of your scripts into your header. And then if you're using Google Tag Manager, you have that, one script you got to add after the opening body. You can do that here. And then any footer scripts, things like that. So we're trying to make it so that you don't have to do a child theme. I mean, I've been using WordPress forever. And I think it's the first time on my own personal site where I haven't done a child theme because I haven't done any customizations. All of my customizations to Cadence have been done within Cadence itself. So it's the first time I haven't felt the need to create a child theme because I'm not changing anything.
Yeah, Amy posted a link to, I guess, an FAQ or documentation on the Cadence theme site. What is a child theme? Should I install one? And the first line says, for most users, a child theme is not needed with Cadence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've found, just because, 90% of the time when I'm creating a child theme, it's because I'm adding my Google Analytics code, or I'm using, if I've got HubSpot on something and I've got a tracking code for that. And I've done it all on my site using this setup in the customizer.
Yeah, she highlighted two sections of it. Also, if you look in the chat window, where it seems like there are two situations where you'd want to use the child theme. One is if you want to override. It looks like if you want to override the theme code, you just to write your own theme code. And number two, if you want to, deeply customize plugins like WooCommerce. Sure. If you want to override WooCommerce theme files, you need to create a child theme.
Right. Okay.
That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah. And here there's some customizations that you can do for your custom post types as well, and like how you would like those types of things to be laid out within the customizer. So there's just so much that it just makes it so that, obviously there's code behind all of this that runs it, but when you are trying to scale an agency and you need to bring junior staff members on quickly in order to scale, sometimes having stuff like this available where they don't have to go wade through the code, it can really make a difference.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Those two child theme, the more I think about those two child theme examples, make a lot of sense. Essentially, when you need to write code, when you need to do something with code, override a theme template or a WooCommerce theme template, it makes sense. So great.
Yep.
Any questions or comments for Kathy? Anyone? All right, I'm going to post the links to our meetup also one more time. But if we don't have any more questions or comments, then we'll end this. This video will be posted on YouTube, so you can watch it over and over and over again. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Amy. This is powerful stuff. This was a really nice demo of Cadence. Thank you, Kathy.
You're very welcome. I hope you guys, and if you have any questions whatsoever, I think my DMs are open on Twitter. It's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. If you have any questions about using Cadence, I am available to answer them or get you an answer if I don't know it.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, have a good night. And again, our next meetup is the third Tuesday of the month, and that will be May 17th. So we will see you again on the third Tuesday of the month, May 17th. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Stay safe. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.